I'm Armstrong Williams. This is Afterwards Book TV. Our guest today is Roger L. Simon and his book, Blacklisting Myself. Blacklisting myself sounds as though your blacklisting was self-imposed.
Well, in a way it is, in a way it isn't. I mean, it's meant a little ironically. Yeah, I mean, as I shifted somewhat to the right in my politics, the Hollywood community went like this a bit with me, but I went a bit this way myself. So it is self-imposed to a large degree, although it doesn't mean I don't want to make movies or things like that. I do. But when I said blacklisting myself, it was a way of saying, I'm going to tell you what I really think, and you do what you want with it.
Help us understand Hollywood's value system. We see them marrying the wives and the husband of somebody else. They have all these babies, the sex, the drugs, the alcohol, and we wonder, what is its value system? And where does it come from? Well, and it seems to be out of step with most of America.
It is, but not entirely. It's not fair. There are people, first of all, there are working stiffs in Hollywood. Everybody should know that. And they're great people. The below the line, every movie that I've been involved with, my favorite people, or many of my favorite people in the movie, are those people who work below the line. Those are the actual working stiffs who run the cameras, who lights, and all the other things that make for the entertainment that we all see. Those people are uniformly magnificent, and many of them have the same values you describe. Where you find the breakdown is in what we call above the line people, the ones making all the money and all the glamour and all the fame. And I think those things, I say here on C-SPAN trying to promote my book and promote myself, those things tend to break apart those values for all human beings. I mean, they're very hard to adjust to. So that's not an excuse for Hollywood, because everybody who goes there voluntarily. I mean, you're not forced to be a movie star.
What about in your book, and we'll come back to the current events of the day, which is very touching in the book, and Paul and Roger Simon, it's a great book, Roger L. Simon, Blacklisting Myself, a memoir of a Hollywood apostate in the age of terror.
Oh, thanks for the compliment.
It's just a good book. What is it, Paul, in your book, in the days of success? Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
Well, Paul was really my brother. Paul Mazursky is a great director. I think many people watching this have seen many of his famous movies, from Bob and Ted and Carol and Alice to Next Stop, Greenwich Village, and on and on. People grew up on his movies. And when I was breaking into Hollywood, there was nothing I wanted to do more than work with Paul Mazursky, and I ended up working with him. Every year I would send him a copy of my latest Moses Wine novel, hoping he'd do it, and he never did. But eventually we came to work together on a movie which I'm more proud of than anything I've done, which is called Enemies: A Love Story. Now, here's the thing. If Paul is watching this, I suspect he is, or will be, we split apart over politics a little bit. He's not a bad guy. He's a wonderful guy. But here's the interesting thing. Somebody's writing a biography of Paul. They called me up. They wanted to interview me. And they said, you'd be amused what Paul said about you in the interview with Paul. So I read it. And it said, oh, right, because we always used to hang out at the farmer's market in L.A. It was sort of like the Woody Allen movie Broadway, Danny Rose, with all the guys sitting around having breakfast, cracking jokes. This went on for years. Some people called it the Algonquin West, but it really wasn't. It was just a bunch of wiseacres. But you know, if Paul says in the interview, oh, Roger, he's a neocon now, as if in sort of way that I died. But of course, he didn't really mean it that way. He's my friend, and we know this. And one of the horrible things about our culture is that we allow political differences to drive us apart, and we shouldn't.
Thank you for writing Blacklisting Myself. We encourage others to go out and buy it. We thank you for being on Afterwards Book TV here on C-SPAN. It has been such a pleasure.
Which was great. Thanks for all the great questions. They're fabulous.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for joining us.